When holding value actually matters, AP versus Rolex. Buckle up, guys. I have a feeling this one's going to get a little spicy. Not which one you like more, not which one looks better on Instagram or TikTok. The real question is this: which brand actually protects your money once you walk out of the door of the dealer? Because whether people like it or not, value retention matters, especially once you're spending 5 figures, 6 figures. So let's talk about this properly. No hype, no brand loyalty. Oh, maybe I lean a little towards AP, but no brand loyalty and no pretending every watch is an investment, because it's not. Let's start with Rolex. Rolex is the king of consistency. Nobody does value retention at a scale the way Rolex does. And scale is the key word. They produce over 1 million watches a year. I've actually read 1.2 to 1.5 million. And despite that, demand still outpaces supply for most professional models, like the Submariner, like the Daytona, like the GMT. That's not easy to pull off. Steel Submariners, GMTs, Daytonas, Explorers, these watches don't just hold value. In many cases, they trade above retail the moment they leave the authorized dealer. But all of you guys already know this. And that's not because every Rolex is rare, because they're not. It's because Rolex has mastered controlling production on a global scale with global recognition, brand recognition, and design that does not age out. For instance, the Submariner has been produced since like 1953, mid-century. A Submariner bought 10 years ago, worn regularly, serviced once or twice, still commands serious money today. A steel Daytona from almost any era, same story. Even a Datejust, which aren't hype pieces. They retain value better than most luxury watches out there. Rolex value is like almost boring, and that's not exactly why it works. It's predictable. It's liquid. You can sell a Rolex almost anywhere in the world quickly and usually without taking a huge hit on it, sometimes no hit at all. And this perspective comes from being in the market every day. We buy, sell, trade, consign, source, service, appraise watches. We do all the things with watches. So we see which pieces hold up long-term and which ones don't once they've changed hands a few times. Now, let's talk about my favorite, Audemars Piguet, because this is a very different game. AP doesn't win on consistency. AP wins on peaks. The Royal Oak is one of the most important watch designs ever made. Certain references like jumbos, open works, limited pieces have absolutely and utterly outperformed Rolex during peak market cycles like 2021. No question. But here's the part that people tend to gloss over. AP's value retention is extremely model dependent. If you bought the right Royal Oak at the right time, you did incredibly well. It's not much different than a Patek and a Nautilus at the right time. If you bought the wrong reference or bought near the top of the market in, say, 2020, 2021, even some in 2022 when all the Bitcoin bros were trying to get into the game, well, you bought near the top and the outcome can look very different. AP produces far fewer watches, which creates exclusivity, but it also creates volatility. The brand leans heavily on core design languages, and when market sentiment shifts, AP prices tend to move faster than Rolex prices, i.e. being more volatile. Rolex prices bend. AP prices swing. That doesn't make AP worse, it just makes it riskier. Now let's talk about liquidity, because it's where the gap really shows. A Rolex Submariner or GMT is basically global currency. Dealers want them, collectors want them, private buyers want them. You can move one quickly without heavy discounting. AP is more niche. The buyer pool is smaller, more educated, more selective, and often higher earners. When demand is hot, AP flies. When demand cools, it slows, sometimes drastically. So if you ever need a quick exit, Rolex is easier. Full stop. And then there's hype cycles. From 2020 to 2022, AP benefited massively from these integrated sports watch booms. Royal Oaks went vertical. But when the market normalized late 2022, something interesting happened. Rolex corrected, then stabilized. AP corrected harder. That tells you a lot. Rolex demand is driven by a wide audience. AP demand is driven by intensity. Now, does that mean Rolex always holds value better than AP? For the average buyer, yes. If you're buying mainstream steel Rolex sports models, history shows they retain value more consistently across more market conditions with less risk. However, the Rolex sport models are the riskiest of Rolex. If you're buying AP, you need to be more intentional. You need to know the reference. You need to understand the cycles. And ideally, you need to access the right pieces, not just whatever's available. At the very top end, AP can outperform Rolex hands down, but it requires precision, deep pockets, and a high threshold of risk. Rolex doesn't require precision, it requires patience. So here's the real answer. If your priority is reliable value retention, liquidity, and long-term stability, Rolex wins, hands down. If your priority is higher upside potential, exclusivity, and owning a true design that's iconic, AP can win, but only if you choose correctly. Neither brand guarantees profit. Both protect value better than 99% of the market. The difference is how much risk you're willing to take to get there. And that is exactly why we're selective with what we source and list on our store. Not every Rolex is equal. Not every AP is worth chasing. The reference matters. At the end of the day, buy the watch you actually want to wear, and that's really what is most important. Let value retention be a safety net, not the only reason you buy. That's how real collectors win. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments if you had to park your money in one brand for the next 10 years. What are you doing? You putting it in Rolex or are you putting it in AP? My name's Chris Warrens, and I'll see you next time. Peace.